This is episode 245. It's because you have a large head.
Which I guess is just all the more room for our brains to be filled with very, very smart wrinkles. We're extremely smart tone controllers. Congratulations to us all. Ding.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, great job. Yes. Academics.
I work in the academics department, so that's funny to hear.
Yes.
So I'm just say my department at work. Marketing. Anyway,
very good.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Here's the show.
Hello. I was about to say, who's going to talk first? It wasn't as much of a chicken game as I thought it was going to be.
I wasn't looking. I was scrolling through the notes trying to find something.
It's the tone control. It's back. And
I thought you were going to say it's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad.
We've been pretty good. We've been pretty good lately. Yeah. Let's see if maybe we'll break the trend.
Honestly, I don't know what it is. Like, my schedule has allowed a little bit for me to listen to our own episodes again, kind of before publishing, just for proofing and stuff, which I did for the longest time, and then just got too busy and kind of would listen to it during the time it takes to publish, and then would stop and never finish it.
Sure.
So, 15 minutes or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But lately, I think it's just because I have more car time. I'm just listening to the show again, and I do think it's better. No,
okay, good.
Like,
I was like, it could have gone the other way, right? I was like, he's about to tell me that I'm fucking up.
No, I don't know how or why though, because it's like we've lost a little bit of content, right? We're not doing the pedal reviews and stuff, so like I do miss that, but also I think the conversation has been better. Yeah. And I think it's not just about like, here's a piece of gear. Like, you can only say, here's a piece of gear. What do we think for so long? And apparently 10 years is the cutoff on that. But
well, it's ebbed and flowed too, because we've gone through periods where we tried to do more discussion stuff. And I do think that's probably better content. I think the reason we were only talking about, like, we had the pedals and since then, we've still like managed to have some pedals, right? Like, you've been you still like
I still
play
buy pedals,
enough, and that you're still like going through gear and things like that. But
which we're going to do in a little bit here. We'll do it today.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think ebbs and flows. It's been good.
I think it's just the discussing and just sort of the natural flow of conversation feels better. I think it's more interesting too, because I don't know. I'm curious if the listener is in a similar state of, let me guess, more pedals.
Right. Yeah.
So-and-so has a new amp. Cool.
Yeah, it does. I think about like some of the publications that I follow, and it's like there are some that are more commentary based and some that are more news based. And then it's like, if they try to do both, they intentionally separate it. And I think they're doing the right thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we should have to do that, but it does. Then it's like, okay, this is a news video, and so you can just run down like, this is what was released, and here's the interesting details about it, and you're not trying to decide what's interesting. Whereas the way we format the show, we are kind of trying to, like, you've often expressed like, what do I do? Like, I don't care about any of this because it's just samey. We were talking before the show, like I'm thinking like, what guitar news have I seen? And it's like Orange makes 3 guitar pedals now, but that's not, I mean, it's like covering Amazon Basics guitar pedals, right? It's not even as interesting as that in a way.
And this is not even a dig at Orange at all. Yeah. It's just it's a dig at the industry, I think, of like, so-and-so has a new pedal lineup, and let me guess, it's kind of these 3 types, right? And unless they've changed something about how guitar pedals work at a fundamental level, right? Unless they've introduced some feature that no one's ever thought of before, it's hard to get excited about at this point.
The
and I know
that
that's
didn't have an off switch. It's just floored us.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's, I mean, that stuff's cool, right? Like new pedals are. I'm like my opinion with Star Wars is like any Star Wars is good Star Wars, and any amount of it I'll take, right?
Yeah.
And
you'd be like,
same with
okay,
guitar,
cool.
I'll take it. Like I'm in.
Yeah.
Sort of unconditionally, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just it makes the excitement sometimes difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what's new? Besides that,
What's new is last week I was doing single parent mode.
Okay.
Because Beth, my wife and baby mama, was on a trip. I've never called her my baby mama until right now, and I don't know how. I'm just trying it on for size. I don't think I like it. But anyway, she went on this work trip for a week.
Oh yeah.
And she was in Rhode Island, so a couple hours away, and she was gone in a hotel, like the whole shebang. And it was this adaptive sports clinic. She works at the VA. So it was this thing that's run by the Department of Veterans Affairs and stuff. And it was this awesome outdoor sports clinic opportunity thing. She works as an OT, occupational therapy, for those who I think I've mentioned that before, right?
Sure,
Probably.
but it's a podcast.
So anyway, yeah. So she's into all of that sort of like sports medicine type stuff, but for the rest of your life, not just sports. So anyway, she was there doing this thing. And by all accounts, it was rad. Like, it was great. However, here, it was kind of the exact and polar opposite of rad. Yeah, so pre-planned, my mom came up to help out. She stayed here because, one set of hands, I'm working and stuff. I didn't take any time off. But because, mornings and evenings are going to be tough with single parent. Like, I wouldn't eat till really late, if at all. I'd be late for work, that kind of stuff. So she's like, I'll come up. I'll help get Jack out the door. I'll have, make some dinners or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe you can like go to the beach during the day or something. Flash forward to Monday at like 11 a.m. Daycare calls. Jack has a fever and needs to go home.
Oh,
right.
damn.
And here the first domino has been pushed. Right. So I pick him up and my mom's like, on her way. She'll be here like a few hours. And he seems like kind of okay. He's fine. Like he's not having a great time.
Yeah.
But he's managing. And then it sort of just like slowly descends into madness from there across the next 4 days, including a baby crying so hard that like you start to think maybe something is medically wrong, right? And it's really, really late. And you're kind of trying to keep your cool, but also like be a sensitive, emotional person who can be connected to this and stuff. But it's still, oh man. So he's crying so hard. I think he's going to throw up, which is he hasn't done. But it seems like we are at like a red alert kind of response from him that we've never experienced before.
Yeah.
And Beth's not home. So my mom's up and we're like trying to do stuff and it's really late. And it's just, so this is this one horrible, horrible night. Didn't get to bed till like we slept in shifts basically to keep him from absolutely wrecking the place. So the days were just like, what even is time? Right. Cause we're both losing sleep and so the daycare rule is you can't go back until you're 24 hours fever free without medication.
Right.
So when they go home, not uncommon. Mm-hmm. So when they go home, they're immediately home the next day, right? You just know.
You could just plan on that, yep.
Yeah. So then he's home half of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Fever's not breaking, call the doctor. They're like, well, we kind of need another symptom. Because otherwise, like, you're going to come in and they're going to say, yep, he's got a fever, manage it.
We're wasting your money, yeah.
Yeah, so, didn't go in and stuff. Fever, like, I don't know. Then we had this one really awful night, and I called the doctor the next day, and of course, like, he wakes up like, hey, dudes, how's everybody?
How was
your
night? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, nothing was wrong. And I'm just like, this is not a baby that needs to go to the emergency room, right?
Yeah.
But 4 hours ago,
inconsolable.
It was like inconsolable, like absolute DEFCON 5. And I don't know, it was just such a weird combination of things. So I think it was a matter of him being sick, Beth being gone, my mom being there, and just like all of that coming together in a confused mass, right? It was everything all at once. And I don't know, it was just a lot, and I had a real shit week. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So Jack went back to daycare last Friday. as planned. Fucking finally. I took the day off work and just did nothing.
Right on.
I was like, I need to go drive around or something. Like I need to do something that is in silence and
right
away. Right. Just very like, and you know what sucks? You know that feeling with a baby when you get kind of touched out?
Yeah.
Like they're just all over you. Mm-hmm. Having that feeling at like 9 a.m. is tough because you've got the whole day left.
Yeah. And you know, it's yeah, I don't know. I'm like struggling to comment. I know what you're saying. Absolutely.
No, I'm not seeking a comment necessarily, but
it was,
and then so then we go to the doctor finally. Fever is broken. And we go and I'm like, look, can you check his ears? Can you check his whatever? Check anything, right?
Yeah.
To just see. Because he was kind of pulling at his ears and stuff. And we're like, just tell me, am I crazy or not? And they check and everything's fine. Like they check him for stuff that we've never even heard of and he's fine.
Yeah.
Huh. And they kind of give me this little bit of like having a baby is pretty hard, isn't it?
Oh, fuck
kind
that.
of response. And I'm like, I know, right? I know. But this was like, you got to understand, this was on a level that was all consuming and, kind of the nuclear response from him. And they're like, yeah, it could have been gas or, could have been blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, you're right.
But he's a year old. This isn't like month 2 and mom left and you haven't done any work without mom. And so, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's what it makes you think of, that they're looking at you like, so your wife's gone, huh? Yeah. And it's like, well, yes, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Yes, but I also bring him to the doctor, I know you, Dr. Lady. You've seen me before. Yeah. And it's just a little, I was not into that sort of tone. And I had to let it go in the moment because I was just like still wrangling baby mode. But I was like, I know having a baby's hard, but this was something else. This was like catastrophic. So anyway, he's fine now.
Oh, good. You kind of love and hate that.
You really want a smoking gun with this kind of stuff. Yeah. You really want like he's got an ear infection. Give him this. He'll be better tomorrow. Fuck yeah. But I don't want him to have an ear infection either. So anyway, I'm going to. Yeah. That's all. We have just, I mentioned this a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago at this point. Starting a dad podcast, possibly.
Right.
We got 2 episodes in the can, baby.
All right. So you're going for 3 and then release, or?
I don't know what we're going to do, actually. Okay. My co-host, Pete, we did 2, and then he's about to go on like a vacation, so he'll get to editing them after.
Okay.
We might even do like 2 or 3 more and then schedule, because we're going to try to record like maybe once a month.
Okay.
And batch them. So we'll do like, 3 or 4 episodes at a time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. Working on it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'll have details for that when it's actually somewhere you can listen.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. So anyway, that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Everything's back to normal this week. It's a wild time.
Yep. War never changes. That's what they say in, which game was that? Was that Fallout or was that the other one? Okay.
I think it's Fallout. So, and I'm sitting there in the chair and he's screaming in my face and I'm just thinking of like that, if you're going through hell, keep going sort of approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way out is through, like that sort of thing. And I'm just like, oh, God. Anyway.
Yep.
Go ahead, because I'll keep going on this.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. So let's do this. Let's mix things up like we have been. I know we were like, we had the usual, it's podcast day. What's going on? Everybody you guys want to talk about in the Discord. And the resounding reply I got was, fuck all this guitar stuff. Tell me about your house, So maybe I'll snap back to that after we do a couple of news items, because I feel like spacing it out makes us less of a meme.
that joke episode of the Tone Jerks really stuck with us, guys.
And I don't mean to think I don't mean anyone to think that I didn't appreciate it, because it was flawless, amazing.
Yeah,
gold medal
we're watching season 2 of the After Party right now, and there's this line that comes up now and then, and they're like, "Are you upset because it's true or because it's not true?" And I think that with this meme about us, am I upset because it's true or because it's not true? It's true.
It's true. I'm also not really upset. Like
I'm
I
not upset at
actually
all.
think it's a good joke.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
yeah. Okay. So anyway, so first things first. First things first is this is where I would mention that we're doing a little giveaway. I'll tell you what, I'll do a little quickie. Where's my good one? Yes.
Here it be, dudes.
There it is. So what seems so far away when you talk about it being in the fall, in tone control time, it comes along quickly with our twice monthly or 2 weeks release schedule. And yeah, so it's bearing down. Join the mailing list. It's join the mailing list. Newsletter. It says newsletter in the notes. So that's what it's going to say in your podcast.
Call it both.
Join the newsletter. There's a link there in the show notes, and that's what we're going to pick from. And it's going to be this lovely Yamaha Revstar in tone control blue. I've decided to call it.
Yeah,
because
it looks great. I did the thing I realized the other day. It's got 9s on it because it's a guitar store guitar. And I'm like, man, this is like, does it feel so strange? Oh, it's 9s. So anyway, yes, we're giving away the Revstar. We're giving away some pedals.
Pedals plural? Is it plural now?
Yeah. A cable, right? Like, just like, it's going to be a whole
Are we talking about multiple winners now?
No, I'm talking about like, I'm giving away something from my pedal collection, which is not in this room right now, as well as the super top secret thing that's in
I forgot. I've literally forgotten some of the stuff we've talked about already.
I know. Yeah, it's going to be, someone's going to get a big box in the mail.
Some pedals. There's going to be something from Rattlesnake. There's going to be the Yamaha Revstar, which is going to, it's going to be outstanding. So get in there. You're going to want it to be there. It's going to go off in September when our 10-year anniversary rolls around.
Hell yeah. I still have only sent one newsletter. I said I was going to do that once a month, but here it is, the last day of the month, and I didn't do one for July, I think. So whatever. You know what? I'll send it when I send it.
Yep.
Go complain about it.
It'll be
Go
precious
complain about getting
valuable.
less email.
It'll be precious and valuable when you get it. So
yeah.
So there.
This is the Revstar you're hearing. So I added to the notes a quick update on this guitar.
Yeah.
The one we're giving away. It's in my hand right now. I messed up last time, or a couple episodes ago, we were talking about how it's got a push-pull on the tone pot for a coil split.
Yeah.
It is not a coil split. So I'm playing this guitar, and I'm like, it doesn't really sound like a coil tap. It sounds like it's something else. And let me just go to the site and read about it and see. And sure enough, they call it the dry switch. And it's just to be a little bit, much like the guitar is generally a little bit different than a lot of stuff out there. This is one of those features that is the little bit different thing. So it's purposely designed to tighten up the low end, and it's like a high pass filter.
It's like a bit of a filter. Okay.
Yeah. So it increases clarity and cutting power, but without any of the loss in volume, and it's still a humbucker. So you still get the advantage of it.
Oh, wow.
Canceling hum.
Huh. Yeah. I like that. I like that. And
Yep.
Not having like held it or anything. That sounds pretty cool. That would be cool for drives and stuff like that. Kind of gives you two pickup profiles without switching to the neck, kind of thing.
Yep. So here we are. This is the full humbucker mode, like the full
unfiltered
normal. Yeah, with the Foxcatcher. And if I pull that tone pot up, it's very
focused.
Yeah, so it loses, like, some of the fullness cuts away, but not in a bad way. Like, it's not muffled. It's not like the bottom fell out from under it. Mm-hmm. It's just a cool way to maybe, you're going into a lead thing and you want to lose some of the you just want to like slice out on top a little bit.
It is, yeah. This is the kind of thing that I run into in mixing quite a bit. It's like you if you're too full range, if you're too wideband, then you take up too much space, and so it can't be as loud. It's like if you can think back to, this is principle wise, if you think back to like mixes with super loud, super punchy drums, those drums are not going boom. They're not ringing out. They're like tight and short, and that's how you can slam them in there super loud along with big guitars and all this stuff. And the big guitars, in fact, if they're too big, you can't.
It turns into just muddy. And I've noticed this even when making sounds in Helix, I've noticed this too, because it's really easy to get your sound too big when you're playing by yourself. Because you're there playing into some headphones, right, or through desk monitors, and you're like, this sounds awesome. It sounds so huge, and then you go into a play with some other people, and it disappears, right? It's like the Big Muff problem, right? It's this massive thing, but then you add other things, and it's like you said, it's too big, it's too much. The spread is too weird, and so because Helix is modeling the recorded guitar thing, not the amp in a room thing. It feels and works a little bit differently. So this is my patch I've been using for the a Blockbuster Summer, and loud in a room, it sounds awesome with other people, but like here, it may not be exact. I've tweaked it so much. I have not. I've changed so much of the low end characteristic, and the low mids has changed with this preset just because of that exact issue.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And you got to be careful not to, this is like, you're listening in solo when you play by yourself. And it's like, so you got to be careful. No, don't tweak too much in solo if it's going to be heard in the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, Yamaha has this cool dry switch, and tightens up low end and treble. It is, but it's maybe Discord's like annihilating that a little bit.
Yeah. This will be a good reason to listen back to the final mix of the episode.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's cool. I like that kind of thing where, I don't know, a coil tap rarely sounds great.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway.
Exactly. Maybe those Fishmans, we should find a way to check out some of those, because that's a place where they have two sounds in the pickup, but it's like very precisely made that way. Those fluents, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Hey, listen, for the next news thing, why don't we skip down to the new pedal here, because I'm already holding this guitar.
Okay, sounds good.
In a purely selfish manner. Now, was that your demo of the Add an Echo?
No, that is my demo of the Alexander Amnesia.
Oh, cool.
Which I think I find very similar. It is also a soupy, reverby machine, but it is. So let's see. Where am I?
I want my guitar to sound like soup. Got any tips?
Yes, I've got a whole bag of things. These are all.
I've got a whole bag of soup.
Pocket full of loose soup. What? Where am I putting this here? Sorry, I'm trying to like type this in. Alexander. Oh God, the bold.
Sorry.
Amnesia. Let's see if I'm spelling that right. I think I'm spelling it right. Let's see. What was I just saying?
I don't know. Something about pockets full of soup.
Yep. It wasn't great. It wasn't great, you guys. I have no idea what I was. No, okay, I know what I was talking about. These there's a whole series of pedals that are mostly like reverbs and occasionally a delay that I was like, I'm not going to care about this. That
oh yeah,
once I played around with it, I was like, I actually love this, like, and I like don't ever look at reverbs, and then once I started playing with them, it was it's not all of them. Some of them it's just like if it's just a reverb, it's fine. But it's these weirdo ones. I don't know. I think I find reverb a little fascinating in that way. Like I'm often hesitant to use it in a mix because I don't think I fully understand it. And then one of these comes along where it's a specific sound. It's not like a plugin where I'm like faced with 150 presets and then I'm going to try to adjust one like I know what to adjust and I just give up. But it's like it's a pedal. Oh, this one sounds like this. And especially when it's these fucking oil can things or something like that where it's like, what the fuck? Like I think what I like about it is if I think about it intellectually is that nobody was playing with a like algorithmic reverb and they found, I bet if I adjust this setting, I'll get this weird modulation. It was from the days when you had to find a weird way to electrically cause something stupid to happen, basically an electrical fault, like playing sound through a spring, and then mixing that back in, and it was like, oh, look, we can fake these strange sounds, but they have these artifacts and idiosyncrasies, and now we have a pedal that like copies some of those, and it's like that's what I want in a reverb. I want like a reverb that's like, okay, here's regular reverb mode. If I'm gonna have like a software, it's like I'll have regular reverb mode, whatever, that's fine. And then I'll click it into, okay, now just start shuffling through the weirdo ones like spring and I don't mean to, like obviously spring's very common, but that's what I mean. Like I can't pick up,
you can
I
get
don't
weird
know
with
how
spring,
at least.
though.
I can't just open up any generic reverb plugin that's from a piece of software and like make it sound like a spring. I don't exactly know how to do that. There's something different about the way the spring reacts. And I'm not sure how to replicate that with no matter how many settings you give me. So, so I guess I find it gives it
like reverb can be awfully one dimensional.
Yeah.
Right. I have this reverb on here. It's pretty, and I have a big reverb too.
Oh yeah.
Just for like big spacey stuff. But that's honestly pretty one dimensional. It's just like big or small. But you get into these things like oil cans or whatever else, and it is its own, it's more akin to it being its own instrument. Like you have to play to the strengths of the pedal or the weaknesses of the pedal to really like get what it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so cool. What were we talking about?
We were about to talk about something from 1981, something new, I believe, from 1981 Inventions, which is apparently the name of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the fuck
Level.
is this? Level,
I mentioned
baby.
last time that I had this on order. I got it used. And I got to say, check it out. Check out used. I know.
I wasn't sure what you were going to say. You have the one with the hi-fi knobs, right? The silver knobs?
No, mine are black.
Oh, okay. Oh, I guess they're still hi-fi knobs. I just couldn't see them in the picture
they're
very
just
well.
black aluminum. So this is designed to sort of be an always-on low to medium gain drive. It says right here.
Yeah.
So it's got two controls, level and volume. And level is the amount of drive and volume is the output, and that's it. It's a full range thing, so you can use it on bass, you can use it on everything. Full stop.
Awesome.
It sounds good. I just think so. I have it here. This is my clean, my bypass tone. Pretty crunchy, and the way I have the level set, the LVL set.
It's just
Just a little extra.
Sure.
It's just a layer. And so between these two knobs, like if I lower the volume down and the juice the level control, like the drive amount, I can get this. It kind of caves in a little bit really high up. And then alternatively, you can obviously juice the volume and keep the level, the drive pretty low. It's an exercise in subtlety.
Which is what makes it a good stacking drive.
Yeah, so this thing rules to stack with. I have it on the board now with a Klon style drive and a Bluesbreaker style drive. And it's awesome on its own. it's one of those things that you kind of get it into a zone. You're like, yeah, this sounds good. And then it feels like it's not doing a lot, and you turn it off and you really miss when it's gone. So it's like, it is that sort of always on thing, and it looks awesome. It's got the 1981 aesthetic. It's a little bit narrower than the DRV. The jacks are on the side, the power's on the top, and it's $229. So a caveat on that, I guess. I think it's a little expensive for what it is. It's not a one-trick pony, but
is your perspective shifted because you got a used one, or did you get a used one because you thought this already, but you hadn't really tried it? Right?
I hadn't really tried it. I did my homework on it, like you do, and thought, yes, this is something I want to check out. I like the DRV a lot. I trust 1981. As a company, I know that they're going to make a good piece of gear, but I was kind of like, you see them used and they're like $75 cheaper than new. It's kind of hard to say, like, why buy a new one?
Yeah.
The DRV, like I said last time, when they were not as easy to find, it was cheaper to buy one direct, and used prices were kind of inflated. That's not the case with this one. So I think $229 for a low gain drive, like where even the maximum range of it is still pretty tame. It's not even like it does really good low and a really good high. Like it's not a broad spectrum of what it's doing. Yeah. It's a pretty focused range of what it's capable of. It does it really, really well, but it's still pretty focused. So I think, dollar per like feature set kind of thing, or dollar per range of functionality, whatever you want to call it, it feels a little high. Not enough to be a deal breaker, but I don't know. The pedal's like so new on the market. Even a used one you find is not going to be that old. It's like they started making it like 3 months ago. So any used one's going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Just too new a product to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, Mike in the chat is saying it's not the same kind of thing, but to do the Kingpin, the Copper Sound Kingpin we just talked about, for $100, like the nicer price thing of like you could do a cool low gain, simple operational pedal for less than half.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I do.
Different flavor drive, of course, but yeah.
A bit. The Copper Sound has we talked about it last time, the features that it adds, which are cool, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the level. I like it a lot. I'm going to, I haven't actually brought it to practice yet. I said last time I would, but we had to reschedule. So I'll bring it this week.
All right. To try it in practice, so to speak. So, all right, I'm going to give you 3 options.
Okay.
We went to see Oppenheimer.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. We went to see Top Gun Maverick outside, and there was a storm.
Oh.
Or this past weekend, my dad and I got together and first his house and then our house. We washed the outsides of our houses for mildew and stuff, which you got to do. Okay, homeowner crap. So
I got to do that. Yeah. Yeah. I got to do that. I do want.
I'm not going to spoil Oppenheimer for anybody.
Of course, yeah. I really want to see Oppenheimer. Like it is. I think I've probably mentioned this is like the day of the tone control where I can't remember if I've said anything before. But in my undergraduate for college, I studied film as literature. So when a movie like Oppenheimer comes out, right, it's kind of like you have my attention. Yeah. And I've slowly faded away from someone who goes to the movies just out of COVID and busyness and stuff like that. And Oppenheimer, though, is like very high on my list of, oh my God, this is really important.
Yeah.
like for the industry of cinema. So
I think that's true. And I've a little bit skipped over so far all of the articles that are about the Oppenheimer Barbie moment in time that we're experiencing. it's so just quickly. My wife went to Barbie with some of her friends like the next night.
For the record, I want to see that pretty badly too.
She said it was like one of the best movies she's ever seen, full stop. So I'm sure I'll get to watch it at some point. Oppenheimer is a great movie that I really, really enjoyed. As with sometimes with Christopher Nolan movies, not because I was having fun. It's a really great movie. I really don't know if I'm ever going to want to watch it again. And it's partially because it's not a fun time. It's a movie about consequences, and it means to make you feel very uncomfortable for long, long sections of it. There's the whole middle section is just it's hard to express the tension and how strung up I was in the movie.
I know what you're saying, but to me that reads as massive success. Like
I think it has
done
great.
The job.
I think it absolutely does the job. I also think it's too big and too wide a subject matter to not get away without some controversy. And I think there's like I've already seen some kind of like analytics about it, and it's obviously like nothing's perfect. And so we're down to a matter of like which of these sort of cultural mistakes should he have thought a little more about and it would have been a little bit better. But nevertheless, like if we kind of just ignore that and take it for what it is, I thought it was really interesting. The dialogue is like words per minute per scene. Like it's long, but there is so much plot in the movie. It would be twice as long by another director. Okay. You know what I mean? It's sort of amazing in that sense. The tension, like I said, and then, what would normally be the climax of the film is like in the middle. And there's still a whole nother section where you need to be made to feel uncomfortable. And he does it again with the bizarre visuals and the bizarre audio choices that really just, as has been mentioned in lots of his other films, just really, makes your skin crawl and shocks you in a way. You're making me want to see
it even more badly.
Yeah, check it out. It's really, really good.
So I can't see it in a really cool format near me, unfortunately. I would have to.
I didn't go out for IMAX. We went to like one of the old school movie theaters around here that's a little bit kind of a historical monument. So it's like a little bit. It was not that big a screen. It was not that fancy a place, and it wasn't
35 millimeter.
It wasn't overly loud either, which is the thing about theaters these days and about Christopher Nolan movies especially, which I appreciated. And all of the audio craziness fully works when it's not actually harming your eardrums. Just so everybody's aware about that. You don't.
Yeah. The things I find really interesting about it, I saw this video that has since been taken down from YouTube due to the strike going on. Oh. But excuse me, it was a video by one of the assistant editors of Oppenheimer explaining all the different formats of the movie and what they are, which one you probably want to see, which one you can probably safely skip, that kind of stuff, giving resources of where to find the right version. Do you want the digital? Do you want the film? Do you want what is the difference between 70? What's the difference between 70 mil and
is it 70
laser and 70? Yeah. And there's like it's all about like how the frame is oriented on the film, whether it's like horizontal or vertical, and like it's 5 or 6 perfs tall versus 15. So it's like triple the height. It's insane. They had to build all these like adapters for IMAX.
Because his film reels are too wide for a typical IMAX film reel.
They're too long. Yeah. And like it's 11 miles of film per
reel.
movie.
And there's like like a number of reels. There's Kodak created a black and white IMAX film stock, which had never been made before, so that he could shoot parts of it in black and white. It's really good. You should definitely see it. It blew my socks off, but I don't know if I'll ever want to watch it again. It's in this weird zone, right?
Yeah, I think I heard in that video, which I wish I could cite, but I tried to send it to someone just the other day, and it no longer exists. But he was explaining that even these like really tight dialogue scenes and stuff, they don't film those in IMAX. Because the IMAX camera is, they said, about as loud as a lawnmower. And so you can't really have it running. Wow. So they are mixing video formats, film formats for all versions, basically.
I see. Yeah. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, pretty rad.
Well, the other thing was, so then a couple of nights later, we had this planned for a long time ago. There's a place right across the river here that does essentially like a drive-in movie, but it's like a sit-in. There's kind of an amphitheater right on the river. And so
Cool.
they block it all off. It's like a 21 plus event. So they have food trucks and beer trucks, and you show up early, you pick out a spot with like lawn chairs and blankets on the steps or on the lawn there. And they have like an inflatable screen frame, and they project the movie with outside for everybody. And I had joked in Discord because it was like so stormy earlier in the day. A storm came through, but we were thrilled because it knocked like 15 degrees off the heat. And so it was actually pretty comfortable outside when we went there, and we were prepared to just like deal with the heat, like whatever. We were going to a kind of an event. But as darkness fell, some more rain came in, and at one point everybody it started really raining. We all pulled our blankets up over our heads, and we were watching Top Gun from underneath blankets while rain fell on us.
Excuse me. That's funny.
And
was it like scary, like kind of dangerous weather?
Well, it got that way. The rain is like rain. It's fine. And then it tapered off, and we all started, we turned our blankets back over to the dry side, sat back down. And then right around then, it's like we're like 15 or maybe 20 minutes into the movie, and the guy pauses it. And he sits on a microphone. He's like, "I'm sorry, but like that cell right over there's like lightning we can see, and it looks super far away." And he's like, "We've been watching lightning all night. Like we could very miles away." But he's like, "That one's coming right here. So we're going to need everybody to like," he says, "We're going to try to restart in a few minutes, but at least go into the parking garage for a while." And they didn't restart. It was torrential. It was ridiculous. So it was a funny story and stuff, but we didn't get to see that.
Bummer.
But yeah, they'll, whatever. We'll go again to something. I think it's a cool idea.
That is a cool idea. I like that.
Yeah, and we had, it's also one of those things like we managed to find a babysitter and then but so whatever, it was an experience anyway. We weren't really that mad about it, but yeah.
Still.
Well. Yeah. So let's next thing this. Let's see, what haven't I done in a bit? Is that a funny thing? Yeah, it probably is. What is this?
Holy shit. What is that? Some octave pedal?
So
Is it the Aguilar?
it's the Digitech Drop.
Oh yeah.
It's the Drop.
What a bonkers piece of gear. I love that.
What a banana pants thing.
Okay. So people know I'm into like the finer things occasionally. The world is trying to turn me into a watch person. Like it's constantly coming up as like you might be interested in blah, blah, blah kind of thing in my feeds. And I'm like, I am, but I'm not. So stop trying, right? I'm interested in watches in the same way I'm interested in things that just look beautiful,
Yeah.
Like if it's got good lines and seems very well made and stuff, like that's my interest. Doesn't mean I wear an Apple Watch. So like I'm not switching off of this for like something really expensive.
Replace it. Yeah.
Yeah. But in my feed comes up this thing that is, a crossing of the streams, the Seiko Metronome watch. And
is that what these are? I went and looked and
yeah. So we went and we talked a while ago. There was some Kickstarter that was like a haptic thing that you'd wear as a watch. Remember that?
And the band would all wear them, and they'd be synced together, right?
You could sync up, right?
Yeah.
Right. And there's an app and all that stuff. So it made me think of that. But this is an actual Seiko timepiece. It's a JDM Seiko, which means Japan domestic market. So I think that means maybe you won't get it in the US, or if you do, it might be kind of tricky. But it's a watch with a built-in metronome and tuning reference pitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it will do 40 to 304 BPM, along with around the face. There's all like the Italian terminology for those ranges.
Okay. It has Allegro and so on.
Yeah. It has A and B flat reference pitches at 440, 442, or 441 and 443 hertz, I think. I wrote 443 twice by accident. And if you're a watch person that has quartz movement, it's a 36.5 millimeter case. It's 9.8 mils thick, and it has no crown to adjust the hands, but it has 4 buttons to operate all timekeeping and timekeeping functions.
And pitch keeping, I guess.
In pitch keeping, yeah. So like
pitch is
you
time
hit the,
from a certain perspective, isn't it?
yeah, if you play E at 440 times a second, you get A. So if you right, if you play it fast enough.
Yeah.
So if you click in, I think it might show you. Basically what happens is the hour hand has a red I forget what they call it, but like it looks like a second hand. There is no second hand on this watch. But the hour hand, there we go, has this red needle on the end.
Yeah.
And when you are in metronome mode, that will ping back and forth like your clock on your analog metronome.
Cool.
Tick tock, tick tock. And it makes a beep, and you can hear it and play along. So it's not tapping you or anything. But like, what the fuck?
It's just always there. It's always on you. It looks like right now. So we're using these buttons and we're switching between I'm a watch mode and I'm a metronome mode, more or less, or I'm a pitch pipe mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Like how good is it? I don't know.
I love that there's an Italian word for 304 beats per minute. That's a lot of beats per minute, everybody.
Yeah. So it's $200, give or take. I think it's like maybe $220 or something like that. If you're into watches, I know that some people are like, that's a space people collect things and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a fun little different kind of thing. Like it's not, dive watches and racing watches and stuff. Those are all very specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the water resistant rating on this thing?
Not very good. Like it's splash resistant,
It's spill your drink resistant.
Yeah, it's like get caught in the rain kind of thing. Yeah. But I don't know. I just saw this and I was like, I have to add this to the show notes. I have to. Right? It's exactly the kind of bullshit we would talk about.
Yeah.
So if you pull up I put a YouTube video in the show notes. You can kind of see some of the operation of it. Mm-hmm. Guy on that channel I don't know who it is, but he explains how to set it and what makes it cool and stuff. So
what
fun
makes the buttons
thing. It's
do what?
Yeah. Seiko metronome watch. There you go.
Pretty neat. Love it. Love it. I'm not going to pull up the YouTube video right now because that would be
that's all right.
YouTube inception and probably be very bad for everybody.
If you're going to pull up YouTube, at least make it us.
Yeah. If I just pull up a thing and just have like I wonder if I could make that go like the cascading, the blue frame.
Yeah. Like the two mirrors facing each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, so want a thing of the week this sucker?
I will thing of the week this sucker. I'm gonna play something else. What do I play? The Bit Commander. Because I know that one's short. The Bit Commander. What?
Tell me about bone conduction.
Bone conduction is, okay, so imagine an orchestra, right? But they're skeletons. It's a Halloween orchestra. And of course, then the conductor, it's bone conduction. But, all right.
My thing of the week is
okay, so bone conduction headphones. This is a sort of a niche kind of headphones, and I became interested in that. Well, I had heard of this, and once I was on a Zoom call with somebody who was using them, and I was like, I'd heard of bone conduction headphones, and I saw him wearing them, and thought, oh shit, I realized instantly that must be bone conduction headphones without having ever looked it up or anything. So the idea here is that you've got sort of drivers, acoustical drivers that are pressed against parts of your skull. So it's typically kind of right in front of your ear. I've seen some that go kind of behind the ear too, but I actually think most of the time they're right here for the ergonomics. And technically, this I think comes from a world of like hearing impairment, because if your eardrum was removed or didn't work for some reason, you could still hear with these, right? Because they're actually directing sound directly into your inner ear. Now, you have to have a working inner ear. You have to have the bones and the nerves. But if your eardrum doesn't work, you could actually still hear these, although probably not as well. So, but this actually sort of moves into the consumer market because of it's a little bit more broad than just bone conduction. And I think the products that you get aren't strictly bone conduction. It's really just kind of a driver that's rather close to your ear. Sometimes they press against the bone here, but it's not like they have to press really hard. It's not exclusively coming through the bone. And in fact, sound does leak from them, which surprised me a little bit. Because I was kind of picturing something that pushed really hard and you really... it would be silent to anyone near you. But no, they have kind of that old-fashioned Apple earbuds leakage that was... It's probably not as bad as like the original Apple earpods. They were before they were earpods, when they were earbuds. Earbuds.
No, they were earpods. That's what they called them.
Earpods? But I thought that was when they changed shape, though. Like earlier ones were like a different... the meme of like the people who are on the subway and you can hear this like noise leakage, it's not as bad as that. But someone standing next to you can hear sort of this whiny, trebly sound coming from them. So I got interested in this because it's not because they sound really good, because really they don't. Like compared to if you're going to spend the same money on actual things that are aimed at your eardrum, they don't sound quite as good. But the idea is that it doesn't block other sound. So like the way a normal person would use them, it's really like, it's called like open headphones, or I have a couple of different pairs here because I was sort of trying out a few different styles. But they get used for like people who walk or run, and you want to be able to, it's like a safety thing. If you want to be able to hear your surroundings.
Yeah, so right before the show, we were talking about this briefly. My dad's a cyclist. He has a pair of these so he can listen to music, but also hear traffic.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So So this is the sort of the most common style. And you see it's like a thing that wraps around the back of your neck. And then it has these, I'm showing them to the camera, but it has these sort of round drivers. They don't really look like speakers, but they've got little slightly...
It's like a little pad.
It's not, it's like a soft thing. It's not squishy, but it's like soft, like felt. And so they're wireless but connected. And they, if I take my headphones off, I could sort of put them on, and they just sit right in front of my ear. The little driver bit does.
Yeah.
And that headphones go back on so I can hear you. And they do these kind of they do press against the side of your head, but it's really light and they're rather comfortable. I didn't get on very well.
You don't
what?
You don't feel any sort of like squeezing pressure issue?
Not at all. In fact, they come with a little rubber band to tighten them, and I imagine that's to fit different head sizes a little better. I found that I really didn't need the rubber band, but I have a pretty large head.
It's because you have a large head.
It's because I have a large head. So, but it's not like they don't have to push hard for you to hear them successfully, and that's partially because like if you pull them off your head, you can still hear them because they're just very close to your ears. So it's really just sort of like a proximity thing. And I think the bone conduction aspect of it is a little bit overrated. Like if I didn't have an eardrum, I would probably strap these onto me really tightly to listen, But since I do, it's like they really just have to be close. I found that this thing like kind of, when I'd move around the back of my neck, it didn't really get on with it. I got these because I to use with my VR headset. Because
I was wondering if that's why.
It's not. I hooked these headphones onto my VR headset because there's no other way for me to get, like if I'm playing games with friends, to hear friends on Discord and hear other things when I'm streaming, that won't pipe through the headset speakers. And so I hooked these headphones onto it, and they're fine, except my new headset is so light that the headphones literally changed the weight enough to remove the comfort. So I was like, obnoxious. Now I'm such a luxury, you know what I mean? So anyway, these are cool because I can play the headset speakers. I can play my friends' voices on this, and it's like perfectly fine it's just voice. So there's no sound quality
you're not
issues.
concerned with like,
right. So I didn't really love this as well because it wraps around the back. I got these other ones. So these are like a true wireless version. These are from JVC, and I'll just I'll do the other ones because that's the side my camera's on. So this just hooks around the back of your ear. This is kind of going to be a familiar format to people who've seen earbuds. And
looks like an old Bluetooth earpiece that you'd like take on a phone call on.
It again just hangs and just sits right here. Now this one, I mean, you can see because it's just hanging on my ear, and I'm gonna pop this up. It's just kind of hanging on me. There's really no pressure at all. It doesn't. It's very much is not bone conduction. They're in this, like if you search for them, you'll find them. But these are JVC calls these near phones. That's the name of the product. And you can even see there's a little port where that silver, the silver that you can see on the camera, that's the charge thing. But there's a couple little holes because there we go. Now I got the light. You can actually see there is a driver in there, and it's just a driver that's close to your ear. That's all there is to it. It's really nothing fancier than that.
The ones I've seen, I think, are Sennheiser.
I mean, there's tons, and I'm sure you can spend a lot.
Of course.
And the thing is, with this kind of thing, like
or Shure, maybe.
Yeah, you can. The price can get up there. These ones that I didn't like very much were like $32 or something.
Oh, okay.
These are like $60, but I actually got these used for about the same money, so that's why I was okay with it. So I kind of, again, like they're not actually conducting through my bones because it's not pressing very hard against my head, but just being near is effective enough. And it's the kind of thing like if you're doing podcast listening, music, if you don't really care about it sounding particularly good, not that they sound bad, it's just you definitely don't have the bass response because it's just kind of near your ear, not in it. And you really it is the opposite of noise canceling. Like you got to understand.
Yeah, it's like the on AirPods, the transparency mode. It's like an analog transparency mode.
Right.
Lets the rest of the world in.
Exactly. It's like I was listening to just to test them out. I was playing a podcast or a YouTube video or something, and I walked over and refilled my water cup at the refrigerator. And that was an amount of noise that made it difficult to understand what was being said. It's like, okay, so we're really kind of in the zone here, like getting ice out of the machine. So, but I whatever. It's like, it's good for my use, and I think the technology is kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting them to just be able to hear when they're near my ear. I really thought it was something where it had to kind of press into your head,
physically push.
Yeah, and I think probably there's a more pure version of this tech that does do that. That's for hearing loss.
There must be,
right?
There must be,
and this is the adapted version for consumers. So.
Right. I was going to say they're super high end or from some manufacturer that's not a big box manufacturer like JVC.
But if you go shopping on Amazon, you're going to find things that are for sport. And if you look up reviews, all the reviews for what's good, they're in this format, the one that wraps around the back of your head. For some reason, those seem to get the reviews reviewed as the best. But it may also be that these aren't truly bone conduction, and all I wanted was called open headphones, open earbuds, which is different than open backed headphones, which is a totally different thing. And it's oh God, this whole scene, but
semantics and small, subtle but distinct differences.
Right. So that's been my weird, very specific adventure over the past couple of days.
Well, hell.
Very happy with these JVC ones.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. My pick of the week is an album of an album.
What?
So this came in. This is Brother Tiger, who's an electronic artist. I guess you could say.
Oh, I get it.
And he's covering this entire album is a cover of Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. And it's sort of his interpretation of the whole album. He covered the whole record. If you're not familiar, Songs from the Big Chair is
it's the
essential.
Album. Yeah.
It's the album. You know all the songs on it. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Shout, Head Over Heels, all the big hits are there. And it was this it still is a massive, massive record for the time. I never forget what year it came out, but it's a essential 80s record, right?
Yeah.
It is the sound of the 80s. And so this artist has covered the whole thing in his style, and it's fabulous. It is so friggin' awesome. And this has been out for a while, but they just pressed it to vinyl, so I got it on vinyl. But you can grab it on Apple Music or Spotify or wherever. And awesome. I super recommend listening to it because it's familiar, but it gives it a little zip and, zig and zag. And check out this variant. It's clear
like
vinyl.
mostly clear.
It's mostly clear, but there's like they call it a yoke. There's a yoke in the middle of
they
blue. Yeah. And it's just like wicked. So, and because it's clear, as it spins, the concentric, carve of the grooves themselves cause this like very odd optical illusion because you can see through it. So you're watching them and it looks like it slows down and then speeds up again, slows down and speeds up again every 1.5 rotations or something bizarre, right? It's just because of like the physical qualities of being able to see through the grooves.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So anyway, I would strongly recommend you go listen to that if you like Tears for Fears, or even if you don't, because if you don't, then you're fucking up.
This might be the thing that gets you over the edge.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
Awesome. What is it? You said it was like kind of electronic.
Yeah, it's still kind of true to that 80s form. I had never heard of Brother Tiger before, but I looked him up. I looked up this album, and I was like, hell yeah, I want it. But yeah, he's like an indie electronic artist, I would say. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's not like techno, right? It's not EDM. It's not dubstep. It's not that stuff.
Yeah. So, well, that would be a dubstep dubstep covers of Tears for Fears.
Dubstep Tears for Fears, yeah. Anyway,
everybody
that's
wants to rule the
pick.
world. Wham! Wub wub wub.
Shout wub 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 wub. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our program.
Okay. I'm going to share this album with you before I forget. How about that?
Okay, that sounds rad.
So then you'll have to listen to it. Haha, send. It's been texted to you.
Oh, no,
butthead.
you got me.
The original was 1985, so there you go.
Yeah. Shoot. I was originally in 1983. This album and me are from the late 1900s. That's
God.
So
I don't know if that's a meme, like if that's a joke or not. It's a great joke if it is, but if it's not, it hurts a little bit in a way that I don't know how to handle, or I don't know. I didn't expect something like that to hurt.
The late 1900s thing.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I think it is a meme, but it's also real because kids in school are definitely being taught things, and there are references to music and culture from things that happened in the late 1900s. Because I mean, there are kids in high school that we're not, that is ancient history, for whom that is ancient history, and legitimately so. So how else would you refer to that? I mean, just because I was alive then, it's like I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm embracing it, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like I think I'm going to be into it.
Does it go the other way? Like, how old would your oldest grandparent be, and would you say, they're from the early 1900s, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like, and to them, would that be like, ouch? Right?
See, I think my grandparents were from the early 1900s, and my parents are from the mid 1900s.
I know, but like, you don't say stuff about like your current time,
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's the detail, right? That it's because if these kids are talking about like a musical act or a piece of culture that didn't exist in the current century. And so you can say it's from the late 1900s, right? And so like, we're not going to say that was music from the late 1900s. We're not going to say that about the 2000s until we're in the 3000s, right?
Yeah. So you're like, oh, this is from the late 1900s and it's fucking Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
Right. Or some shit that's like,
well, no.
I mean, still around, what I mean?
I mean, well, things can be still around. I mean, I don't know.
Like, I know. It's just such a weird thing.
There's Metallica from the late 1900s, and they're still around.
Yeah. It just feels like a weird thing. You don't talk about it in like you said, the current thing you're in,
Right.
Or when they're still alive, maybe, or like when a huge portion of the population was also alive then.
Well, so it's like what's his name? Pee Wee Herman died today.
Dude.
So now that he's dead, we could say he's from the late 1900s. He was popular in the late 1900s, but we couldn't yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Sinead O'Connor, same deal.
Yep.
Jeez.
So is that a tone control community rule? You're not allowed to refer to somebody that way until they're dead.
I think that's a safe rule, just like as a sign of respect.
See, I'm taking the opposite feeling. Like I like it, and I can't wait to start talking about more things being from the late 1900s.
I do actually like it. It's kind of fun to feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know, because you'd throw around, oh, this is from the late 1600s, and you're like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
and like you don't care specifically. You don't care like if it's from right 1651 like up to 1699. That's a huge fucking range, right? But like you're talking about people, right, that you might know in real life, or like some artist tour or an album that came out. It's like it's a fucking 50-year span, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Let's get out
cool.
Here.
That's a good show full of stories, guitar stuff, and hot takes. So I think it's put it in the can. It's in the anyway. Yeah.
So we started this show in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
You could
the
say
early 10s. So we can't even say the aughts because it was 2013. Yeah.
Yeah. Darn.
We were in the teenies.
I don't know how I feel about the aughts. I know that's correct, but it feels bad.
It feels British to me, and I don't know if I'm inventing that. I think I hear
feels
more
like,
British people saying that than otherwise.
It's one of those things that like we all know it's kind of the term, but only dickheads say it. You know what I mean? That was really harsh. I didn't actually mean that. But you know what I mean? Like you'd say the 2000s, I think, is how I refer to that time.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
So anyway.
I haven't gotten on board with the aughts. So anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out with this latest very special episode of The Tone Control. And if you'd like to support the show, and I think you know that you would, the time to do it is now, and the place to do it is right there in the show notes, where there's links to our Discord that you can join and join in the fun, which is totally free, and our Patreon if you want to do something that is not totally free.
But pretty cheap.
and very valued. So, and also the newsletter. Don't forget about that, because there is a very good chance of winning a guitar in it for you. There's a lot of contests and giveaways out there in the world. I would say this is going to be one of your best chance to get a legitimately awesome thing.
Odds are in your favor.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say I've been like checking in each week.
Yeah.
Numbers are up. People are subscribing. Love to see it.
Great job. Keep going. Keep up the pressure. Keep subscribing, people. Subscribe now. Subscribe often.
Subscribe your friends. Subscribe your mom. Subscribe your mom's friends.
All right, everybody. I'm going to scroll down here, and it's time to do a thank you of the Patreon.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's right here.
I didn't get this ready.
It's right here. Unless something's changed since last time.
Something has changed since last time.
Something has changed. Oh, no.
I got it. You can start.
Okay, here we go. I was about to push the wrong button. That's fine. We're scrolling up. No, we're scrolling back down. So anyway, thanks to everybody for watching, and thanks to the patrons who are Nick Greenwood, Carson Ricketts, Matthew Fenslaw, Ryzen Wolf, Jamie Evans, Doug King, Big Daddy Doug. That name isn't funny anymore. Almost screwed it up. Brian Gower of the Tone Jerks podcast, Mako Guitars, Andrew Walsh of Andrew's Alcove, Doug Christ of 37 Effects, and Sean Wright of Lollygagger Effects. Thank you all just so damn much.
Just so much. Thanks for funding our giveaways and crazy shenanigans.
Yeah.
You guys kick ass.
All right. And until next time, keep it guitar-y. Oh well. Bye.
Just bye.